Hey, Mark's on here. Sorry.
Hi, Mark. Yep, we got you.
Okay,
Awesome.
somebody want to approve minutes? I can't do it.
A motion to approve.
Second? Anyone second?
A second.
Great. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
Hi.
Visitors' comments, we don't have any. No, you're right. Rooftop lighting update.
That's me. Mr. Hinkle, if they haven't already, we are set to go. So Strive should be connecting with you to schedule a date and a time. The next building, all of it. So if they haven't gotten to you yet, let me know and I will. I've been on the phone a couple times with them, so. Mark, did you hear that?
Hey, Mark, you there?
I am, but I'm really not hearing anybody very well.
Okay,
Can you hear me now, Mark?
I hear you, but I don't really hear anybody else.
Okay, so I was just saying that Strive should be connecting with you to schedule the installation on your building as the next building in the.
Oh,
in the
perfect.
line.
Awesome. Great.
and that has not happened as of yet, right, Mark?
I have not heard from him, no.
Okay,
I told them today anyway, so I'll remind them again.
Perfect.
and what we've run into in the past is sometimes we get to temperature sensitive things where it gets too cold, right, can't do it, so that's kind of always a pain in the neck. Anyway, Sunday was nice.
And then if I, just a quick follow-up on that, there's a couple other buildings where there were some needed repairs, so they'll be reaching out to those owners to schedule entry.
Okay, yeah, the repairs could happen because the
Exactly.
things that are already glued up there, I know our building and our block especially,
Mhm.
in fact, we approved we need a new strand, I guess, is what we need, because it keeps
It's already
flipping.
been replaced once,
It's something
but
weird.
when they replaced it, they did not put the washers in right off the bat when they were supposed to.
Okay, all right. Okay, Bill wanted me to bring up, he's not gonna be here, but you hear Bill? No, Mark, sorry. Bill wanted me to bring up that he has talked to Canary Florist thanks, and also to Dan Warner about getting lights put on by their building. I did not get a chance to walk down to see Dan's building in particular, but I know Canary Park, it looks like if Strive can put in a junction box up by where the lights are, which looks like it's doable, it should be high enough to go into their ginkgo tree. I'm definitely of the opinion that it would be better to spread those lights out better if we could do it instead of having it right at Clover and the Bee and then right across the street at Canary. That lights up that one corner really big. So I'd say maybe start with Dan Warner's building first, if that could happen.
When we say Dan's building, are we talking about the bookstore or which
I don't
one?
even-
Bar?
Talking about, I believe, an initial design building.
Oh,
The
no.
three-story building.
Oh, got it. Yeah. Yeah.
And
I'm sorry, I'm having trouble understanding you, Joe.
Okay, they are three-story building, initial design, green,
We're a green door,
green door, yes.
Next to
not the fire station.
not the fire
Not
station.
fire station.
but that would be where I would say we should try to go to Phil Linwoodell and talk to him and Phil.
Well, actually, I'm assuming he's talking about Dan's building down on Gore.
He is.
Yeah.
He pointed down that way and told me about it. And I said, which one? Because he has so many buildings. I'm
Yes.
like, it doesn't make
Yeah.
sense. But he did tell me it's one right in front of the recycling dumpster. It's right, I guess it's behind. it, so-
Okay.
Right, so that's what he told me. So,
Is this the rooftop lighting he's talking about?
No.
No,
this is the
In the
tree
trees,
lighting.
yeah.
Okay, the
I
tree
don't know
lighting,
what
that's
kind
it.
of trees he has, and Bill was mentioning something about awnings, and so we need to look into that a little bit
Okay.
more.
Well, okay, the other thing, and I wanted to, is that when we were talking about the tree line has never involved stride before.
That's true.
So I want to get that, the rooftop line involves stride. The tree line was strictly
The
the
city
city.
in a bucket truck with an existing outlet that was already there.
Right.
The Stride would have to be involved, though, I know in the Canary Park, where they would have to put in
They
a,
have to at least tap an outlet
Correct.
into that.
Right.
light
We need to
box.
get power to it.
right, exactly, and there's power there, it just needs to be pigtailed off of it. Right, that, it's not, I don't think it's that big a deal, but definitely would be something that Stride would have to do. So we'll keep moving forward with that. I'll try to even see if I can get down and talk to Phil sometime in the really near future, because those trees are bigger. And it would help spread it out more in the district.
Yeah,
And Dan's building would be great too. I just don't know how big his trees are or what.
It's not, Phil, it's, Lockwood Insurance and,
There's
the old firehouse
okay,
would be where you want to draw the,
power off if they have a sign.
well, it's a tall enough building to be stringing the wire over the head.
Okay.
Phil's building is really just a one story or something at the front.
Okay, all right.
So,
Okay. Any other questions on lighting? Have the lights been purchased for the tops of the buildings, do you know?
So, yeah, we have,
You have
I have
everything.
boxes of.
Boxes, you got
office. So,
two. Mara's happy about that.
Yeah, yeah, they're in my office.
They're not in my office anymore. Okay, all right, so we have the lights, okay, great, okay. Okay, holiday district decorations.
So all the decorations have been ordered. Public Works and Parks will have them out in front of the holiday open house.
Nice.
Order, meaning work orders have been put in to bring them out and set them up.
Mhm.
The only outstanding question, I know I posed this to Fran, and so where is Santa's mailbox that's coming from
Oh.
Old Orchard going?
Yeah, we're gonna put it in front of DD Mall. We went back and forth just because of the kids and not having roads closed.
And so in front of DD Mall means what in terms
We're
of?
like, I would say the most neutral place. It does not involve their like as much as their patio. versus-
By the fountain.
By the fountain.
Yeah, by
There's,
the
yeah, fountains stick out and there's room around there.
Yeah.
No, that's fine. I just wanted,
Okay,
once they set it down, I don't want to make you. all
yeah,
have to go
yeah,
sit and remove it.
100%. Yeah, we just made that change last night.
No problem. But otherwise, it's all ordered, so they will all be in before the 14th. So those work orders are in. I think the plan is to have them in by the 12th. So that way you can all do any checks. And Public Works is prepared, should we have lights and times and such, to be able to, if that's all ready, to string lights as well.
Okay,
Up in the trees.
okay.
That's so exciting. Thank
Does
you.
that include banners and garland?
Banners, garland, pole wraps, all the
All
holiday
the
decorations,
things.
all that. Yep.
Thank
And
you
now,
for
how
getting
long are
that
we
done.
keeping Santa's mailbox? Old Orchard will want it back the Monday, the Monday after Thanksgiving. So how long is it? Just that weekend that it's there, or?
Well, I mean, it might be kind of cool to keep it until they need it. That way you guys don't have to pick it up and then.
I guess my only fear is the kids that run around here.
Not any different than Old Orchard's gazebo park.
Yes,
That's
but
true.
then they are responsible for it instead of us.
I don't think it's gonna be an issue. It's right there by being DD Mall. It's in a very well, like. High traffic area because of the parking. I mean, if it happens, it happens. I don't think it's any different.
I mean, kids are stupid enough to go up to a real mailbox. if
Yeah,
they
I
wanted to
mean-
do that type of thing.
I don't think we really have control over the children versus the other way around either, so. I say keep it, and then it might be just something fun for us to have in our district for a couple weeks, you know.
Who wants all the letters when they have to? Like, bring them to you?
I'll take
Okay,
them.
all right.
I will take them.
No children are listening.
Have to do anything with them? Do you think I have to write them back?
And you have to deliver the stuff that they.
Oh, yeah, all the,
Right, right.
all the.
Right, you gotta get the sleigh out.
Okay,
I don't know, in the past,
Yeah,
Webster Kirkwood Times has,
got it.
you know, published a couple and messed with things like that.
Yeah, what does Old Orchard do with them?
That's a great question.
They've done that, but they haven't done that recently.
How often do they have to empty it out? Weekly or something? I'll reach out. Who do I reach out to about that? Who's
We
in
have a
charge?
key, we can empty it, that's not a problem,
Yeah,
I don't want to save a bunch of letters in my office, so.
Yeah, I know. I was
There's
just trying to
enough
figure out
letters.
what exactly Old
Right.
Orchard does with their letters
Yeah.
too. but
It's different
you're
every
learning
year.
that. Okay, yeah, I'll take the Old Webster letters. We will not be stuck with feeling bad disposing of me.
Okay, kiosk, district info and kiosk.
Yes, I do actually. Here, will you circle back to me?
I will.
Sorry, I
circle back,
have to
but we're
hold this
on a new business then.
So are we going to Douglas Hill?
We can go to
So
Douglas Hill.
I'm gonna bring in the Douglas Hill folks here. Obviously, I think you all saw my email from, through Fran asking, letting the boards and commissions know that the council is open till November 12th to hear any feedback, concerns, issues, thoughts on the Douglas Hill redevelopment. So we put it on every agenda to talk through. The Douglas Hill team, I think, is here, and I don't believe, is this everyone, Liz? This is all the three of you? Okay. This is on the agenda for that reason. How you wish to handle this is up to you all. It obviously affects you most directly out of all the boards and commissions, I think, but, and I'm sure you've heard from these folks before in other conversations as well. So with that, I'll turn it to Larry and Liz, Mr. Chair, if that works
That's
for
right.
you,
Perfect.
and then we can engage in questions and go from there. So. And
Yeah.
Joel.
Larry Chapman, looking forward to a TIF commission tomorrow night. And you know, we're rolling through TIF commission and zoning. Neither of those make the project. They're just things that need to be in place so that ultimately, if there's a redevelopment agreement, the project can go forward. They're just stepping stones along the way. Without them, nothing can be. So just wanted you to know that this is no way a fait accompli of what's going to be done, but it is a step along the way. We've continued to answer questions and provide information. I don't know if you have any questions or need anything in particular. We have some fun things going on. We're going to have a group in from out of town next week to talk about interactive art that would go into the gathering space along the Riverwalk and things like that. So we're hopeful to be able to announce something that would be a real attraction to bring people in to visit, which I think would be good for everyone's businesses. And we're here to answer any questions. Have some, and either Liz or I or Joel can answer them.
Yeah, I'll let you guys know. I just put some stuff in the chat in case you missed it. This has been on the city's website for a while now. But the presentation that Eric did a phenomenal job at the city council meeting on October 5th, explaining TIF, because I know there's still some confusion out there. And then Larry's presentation to the city council. So that had some interesting facts in it. Wanted to make sure that you guys had that front and center. But we're here to answer any questions. We appreciate the time.
And just to give the council and the members on Zoom, so some commissions have, I think the Arts Commission obviously did send a letter. They're concerned about Sculpture Park within the scope of their business. The Chamber, that's not a part of commission. Crossroads Business District met last week with these folks and decided to send a letter supporting the project to the city council. So the reason it's here, and I'm not, you can decide what to do, but I'm saying those options are available to you. If you want to put a communication forward to the council from Old Webster Business District, that's an option for you. And that's why we wanted to have them here, so you could talk about that. They're willing to leave if you want to have a conversation without them as well, to be able to talk about such a thing like that,
Right.
if you want to do it. So,
Okay. Does anyone have any questions or comments? For that?
I'm just gonna say one thing, that I'm going to have the trade send out individual comments of how they feel. Since the trade is actual neighbors to this project, or they live in this neighborhood. I'm gonna have them send out something so that they can make their comment, they can put their name to it, they can say anonymous, just a couple of sentences, just to get some more info from direct businesses for or against the project. We are not going to say for or against, we are just going to make a list of comments and submit that for that meeting.
And that's nice. Thank you, Tim.
And I think that that is a good, that's how I was gonna say that this board should handle it as well. I think everyone here could have a slightly different opinion, and everybody has a personal, they can always go and personally say whatever they want to say. And I think that is the better way to handle it. It could be kind of a political football where you could make just like a political sign in your window, you could make half the people angry from what your comments could be. And so it's one of those things that I think that's what this board should do as well, personally. But of course not.
I agree with you. I feel comfortable with that.
So, any questions at all for Larry, Liz, or Joel?
See, no questions. I'll just offer, we did just post this cost benefit analysis, which describes the revenues and the sales forecasting for the potential in the TIF area and such, has been revised, and that is posted now. And that is revised to include the new valuations, because
Okay.
obviously it was built on last year's assessed value, and so those have all gone up. Property tax rates have changed, and we also were able to work with the Department of Revenue and get the actual sales tax numbers from the current businesses in the district, so that we can then extrapolate, you know, what's really being generated there in a no build scenario, and what would the future look like in the builds.
And that is something we can see online.
It's all right online on the TIF Commission website.
And
so.
Liz, what you just posted in the chat, which we can't see, it's just it's fine that we can't see it. We can go, but we can get that on the city's website as well.
That's correct, yes.
Okay.
Liz, is that the one you gave, your presentation?
Yeah, so both your presentation to the council and then Larry's presentation to the council. And then I also included the address for city council at webstergroves.org for you guys to make your comments.
So if you go to the city's webpage, and on the top, you'll see the big scrolling banner with all the different quick top links. Douglas Hill comes up, just click it. All those presentations are there, the link to the TIF Commission with all that information is there as well.
Fantastic.
Hey, Eric, can I?
Eric, I was gonna say, Eric, if we could add, could I have Larry address the sculpture park? I think there's some confusion as to why the sculpture park would be included within the TIF district.
Which I do. So the boundaries of the TIF district don't have anything to do with whether something's going to be modified or changed. In fact, the church is in the district, the historic building is in the district, but the boundaries are set so that if money is spent there, it can qualify as a qualified TIF expenditure. So there's utilities running along there, there's road improvements around there. And for us to include that, it just needs to be within the boundaries. That said, the redevelopment agreement will dictate what happens. And we've suggested to the city that the redevelopment agreement simply say that nothing would be done to, touched, or changed about the sculpture park without the approval of the city. We don't have any right to just do things because things are inside the boundaries of the district. That's a mistake. But should somebody want improvement, should the art commission want to see some improvements, or should we have to do something in the facilities surrounding it, it needs to be within the boundaries so that those can qualify as expenditures. And so that's really why it's there. It's not to modify it or change its character. Our hope and goal is to bring more people there and enjoy it more. In fact, my wife and I and a friend donated one of the pieces of art for that in the area that's affected. We're not trying to change it at all on it. I would also like to say, and it's not related to the sculpture park, but just related to the business district in general. Our goal is to try and help the district any way we can. You know, we're going to be providing more parking so that there's more parking available to the district. In that regard, we did meet with Rolling Ridge again about a week ago, and we have some ideas to improve the parking situation for them. I shared those with the city on our weekly call, and so I'll be able to advance some ideas to share with Rolling Ridge, hopefully in another week or so, that I think will help and make them happy. That should go for everything that's going on in the business district. If we're not successful in making this business district more successful and bringing more people and doing good things for the community, we shouldn't be doing what we're doing, but we believe we are. We believe that everything we're doing is going to have a positive net benefit to the community. Will it be exactly the way everybody would do it? No, because there's nothing we can do that would get uniform agreement from anyone. So we're putting forward the best thing we can do that's also feasible, because if it's not feasible, it's not doable. And that's where we are. And I honestly believe that the development's going to be just terrific and be a great benefit to the community. And when it's done, people will look at it as a place they can be proud of. I really do. And it'll blend right into the fabric of Webster Groves. And so we're looking forward to getting an approval. I don't know that we will, but that's our goal and hope.
Joel, you had a statement there.
That was it.
Any other questions?
It's a TIF approval that we're trying to get, your city's trying to get, is,
I'm gonna be clear about the city trying to get, so,
Okay.
yeah, well, I'll come back and address it, so give me
I
your
just
question.
assumed that everybody's trying to get this
Sure.
TIF that's.
Yeah.
Okay, the TIF that is trying to get approved, is
Mhm.
that just on the renderings from their project?
Sure.
Or is this a TIF that can be used if they need to make significant changes? I mean,
So-
significant.
So the way TIF works, so the developer has come and has said, responded to our RFP from the city for this site, okay? And they were asked to submit a redevelopment plan and proposal. So the developer, and this is what the TIF commission has to make a finding, is saying we can't do this without a public investment towards the public infrastructure. So all the work the TIF commission does, it says that this area is ready for the redevelopment. It is feasible to be done, and it won't happen but for with the public investment. So the redevelopment plan lays out exactly what not exactly in terms of what the buildings fully look like, but how many units, what types of buildings, the green space characteristics and such. There's a plan. The nature of that plan is what is in front of the TIF commission. And the TIF commission will decide and make a recommendation to the council, which is the ultimate decider. Does the public investment of that future tax revenue enhance the public infrastructure? Now, of course, when we look at that space, so that's where that money is going to go. It's going to go into the acquisition of land for the use of that public infrastructure, building the street, working on the Shady Creek area, because the TIF doesn't go to just help Larry build a taller building.
Right, I guess what I'm asking is if the TIF that we're going after, that
Mhm.
they're trying to get approved, is a TIF that's solely
It is
based on
solely
what
for the
they've
next-
already presented? Or can we get a TIF that then changes it? I'm just
No,
asking,
right,
like, this TIF
okay.
is for this exact,
In general, it is
Proposal.
for this proposal.
Okay.
Now, there are things about this proposal, and Larry can certainly hop in. The model that's set here at City Hall, the buildings won't look exactly like that, right? I mean, there's later steps in these processes that go on. But the number of buildings, the types of buildings, the public investments that will be made, that is in the nature of the plan. And if Larry and the team want to change that, we go back and we restart the TIF process because it
That was-
represents a
okay.
different TIF.
thank you, that was my question.
And I important to say that all of the benefit from the TIF goes into infrastructure improvements. It doesn't go into the buildings themselves. The only expenditures are for land acquisition, demolition, and putting in the new streets, putting in the new infrastructure and utilities, do all the mass grading, creek, do the road improvements, rebuild the culvert under Gore or the bridge. There's a number of things, but they're all infrastructure in nature. The buildings will stand on their own. It's just to get the underlying land costs to a point where it's within the market range.
Any other questions? All right,
Awesome.
y'all very
Thank you, guys. Eric, I just sent you what I put in the chat so you can easily forward it to everybody in the room. Make your life a little easier. But thank you guys for your time. We appreciate it.
thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thanks.
Larry, were you saying something?
Just wanted to say one other thing, is that I don't know how many of you know, but the building at 20 Allen Avenue and the little strip center next to it that has Bread Company was done by a TIF. It was finished in 1998. The buildings were completed in the year 2000. And the city benefited by a garage from that. That garage that's there, the city owns now at no cost to the city. It was paid for by the TIF. Like most, paid off about 4 years early. So, that was a tip. Many people don't realize that, but it was a good way to improve the area. And what was there before was just older buildings and an old surface parking lot. I don't know how many of you remember, but that was a good use. And I just want to remind people that TIF is a tool. It's not a gift. It's a way to make something happen that by itself wouldn't happen. And so I just wanted to share that.
Thank y'all very much. Appreciate it.
Thanks, guys. Have a good day.
You too.
Thank you. Okay, didn't mean to say the city was for the TIF.
No, that's fine. And I just wanted to be clear that,
Yeah.
the way it works is a developer asks to have the TIF included, the city responds. So we certainly aren't for it, but that said, the city has asked put an RFP and did say, bring us proposals for this, so.
That's what I was.
Yeah, but until the city council votes, the city's not for it or against it, so, we walk a very fine line there.
They are too far into design, like, it can't be changed at this point, can it? Like, all those tall buildings that they've drawn out, so that is what,
No,
So, no, the height that,
okay, please, Mickey, please fill me in.
yeah. So that, I would say that is very conceptual. There is a whole lot more detail that gets into that before it needs to be, before it can be constructed. So there, I would say, could be several changes along the way. The details as far as like what they're doing with the creek are very, very high level stuff. I would say the buildings are just concepts. Once they get more data, they'll pull that, they'll start doing all the detailed design. So I would say they're at concept level, or what we consider concept level. There's a lot to do before it's finalized.
and all of those, just to give you, I mean, as everyone knows about the Webster process, no different than a house in concept, right? So now we get to plans, come back to the ARB, does it conform to uses, the ARB on design features and how it looks. So there's a whole load of things yet beyond what we're gonna call final approval if it happens in December.
And let's just say that everything gets approved by
Yeah.
city council and a bunch of residents put up a stink and
Sure.
wanted to go to a referendum or vote.
Yep.
Is that could be the
Yeah.
path that it goes down?
It certainly could. The council's discussing those legal things this week, because obviously there's this petition out there to change the charter. Thanks, Tim. But the most obvious one, without any legal ramifications, is the zoning ordinance that would change the zoning of that area to plan commercial. That's no different than the A4 amendment that we just went through, Prop 1 in April, or excuse me, this summer, August, sorry. So, that one, I think certainly, just from my read, there certainly could be a petition and force a referendum on that issue. So.
Okay. Thanks, Mickey, for your help on that.
Yeah. It's very confusing.
Huh?
It just was very confusing. It
Right,
said
well,
that, I mean, like,
Right. Okay, kiosk.
yes, okay, so I received an email back from Gretchen's office. And they've got some pricing back from printers and sign options and equipment. It's running about 6,000 to 7,000 per kiosk. She said, she asked if this was in our budget. I obviously said I would bring this information to
Right.
the board. And if it is around our budget, then they will go ahead and give us a real estimate once they.
That's
draw
just like,
everything
yeah,
out.
I got you. Okay, so it's just okay.
Yeah, so
We don't have,
I do think it's worth $6,000 if we have it, but it doesn't necessarily have to be done this year.
right, exactly. Well, it can't be done this year, but it can be
Right.
done, it could be in our budget for, if we start talking about in January, which is a
Sure.
couple months. So that's for next year. So that's what we have to kind of start thinking about. Again, we're talking about a kiosk that's going to be over at the entryway to the garage off of Lockwood. That's what we're kind of talking about.
Yeah, which is where we've kind of just naturally started making our information tents, making home base to any event
Right,
is that spot,
right.
because it's so
What the-
easy.
What the city of Parks Department calls a concrete park.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. There's like,
Right, so, okay. So I guess what we should maybe do is we could put that on the agenda for next month to vote on that. Does that sound okay?
Yeah.
I mean, it's definitely something that we have the money for, whether it's it as a budget item or out of reserve fund.
Mhm.
So I think it is definitely something that there is money available if that's the decision to do.
Right. Okay. Any questions on the kiosk?
Stacy, did she say anything about lead time on how long it'll take to get it once you order it? I know there's lots of supply chain issues.
It did not.
So just on that point, and Joe brought up the reserves, we can ask for a budget amendment to take from your reserves if you're ready. So if you want to have it spring, early summer, rather than waiting until the July budget starts, we can ask for those budget amendments. And it'll just take an action of the council to move your money from reserve into the budget to be spent. So we can certainly do that, but we'll need to have the quotes, pulled together in a better way. And then I'll need to just look at our purchasing policy and see if we need another quote at all, or, if we can sole source such an item. So.
Okay.
This is a different note. So the city has some money that they've been given to spend to enhance the business districts. And I'm wondering if this is something that we kind of present to.
So is that like a
Are you talking about the American Rescue Plan?
Yeah.
Okay. So this is the American Rescue Plan funding, the $4.6 million from the federal government. So one of the eligible uses, I want to be clear, is the economic climate and impact businesses. So we certainly, the city's going to be asking for input, both from the business community and residents and just all over, how should we spend this money? It's almost like a mini budget process they'll be in. So we'll want input like that. The one caveat I put in is we have to, whatever we spend on that has to be one of the eligible uses. So we just need to, if the kiosk is an expenditure, does that fit somehow the businesses were impacted by COVID? Or is that a general marketing expense? So we're not saying no, we just have to make sure we get that round peg in round holes rather than, trying to, the penalty is not good for the city if we spend it wrong, we take a general fund hit to pay the fine, so.
Right. Well, definitely.
So my question is, do we want to hold out on trying to get the kiosk approved and see if we can present it to the city and ask when they give us the option to ask for things, or not necessarily ask for things,
Or
but
propose.
propose.
Right, exactly.
I think you do both at the same time.
Okay.
You start, you walk there like you're gonna buy it, you can put it in front of the council that way. If it's an eligible expense and something that, council says, hey, let's put a little money that way. Quite honest, possibly if that's going to happen for Old Webster, I would not be surprised if they don't just put a kiosk in all three districts and type of action, so.
Right.
Well, that's where my next question is. As I'm planning this kiosk and gonna get back to Emily, I'm wondering if we want to offer up with her, basically offer an olive branch to the other business districts and get quotes for them to have one too. And on somewhere on our kiosk, it also gives information, even if it's Old Orchard, arrow that way.
Right.
Crossroads, arrow this way. Or has a little something with the other business districts on it.
We definitely could do that. I just know that Crossroads budget is so minimal, I think. I'm not on that.
Yeah.
They have very little money. The only way they can have anything like this would be like a grant per se, I would think. I know Old Orchard could probably scrape it together, I would think, so we could try to do it that way, and maybe the council would see, hey, let's put, kiosk, and of course, Crossroads kiosk wouldn't have to be that huge because it's not a huge retail, but there are businesses there that contribute to everything. So it'd be nice if it was more uniform and stuff like that. Is there any idea on, and of course I don't know this because it's a city thing, but the city has the kiosk, which is down below, which is way before you, I know, Eric, but.
Which kiosk do we have?
It's just a sign brochure holder thing,
Right,
right?
exactly.
The one down here.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yes.
And I have no idea what that costs, or who did that process or whatever, but, you know.
We spend more in printing those little books to put it in, I'm sure than that sign.
Yeah, but
costs, so,
Joe would know because he knows everything. Tell us, Joe.
I have no recollection, but I think the kiosk that we're as for really is completely different from what that is, that standing against the wall and such. We're looking at something that's freestanding,
Right.
which is going to be more expensive than something that is bolted to the wall.
I think that might have been part of the, if I'm correct, the city hall renovation. It may have just been wrapped into, I can't remember.
Okay.
Yeah, it may have been, that was Roger at the time that did that, and I don't know who paid for it, but it was somehow paid for out of some kind of general city funds or something.
If I may, Mr. Chair, as you're talking to vendors, right, you know, just get that 3 to 5 to 7 type of price range, because if the city's going to invest, the city has more than just the business districts. There's the whole Watson Road area down along Yorkshire. There's Marshall and Summit, you know, just top of my head that are.
Right.
And I could easily see North Webster on the border with Rock Hill and such like that, you know, some of those. There's other places we may be interested in having kiosks as well, so that helps.
Okay.
So
Okay.
if the city's gonna go down that road and put ARP funds, we may find other ways to help utilize that as well. So,
And actually, it may qualify better as
exactly.
those when it's in
Multiple.
multiple.
Yes. Well, that's what I was trying to figure out. Like maybe ours is that first olive branch with some other business districts info on it. And then as they maybe follow suit, they will also put Old Webster and they will do the same for their kiosks, or they will get a matching kiosk or use the same.
I would think that there would be a very minimum of 2 kiosks with the possible of 5. But I am sure if we do something like that, I feel confident that Old Orchard would somehow come up with it, whether it's city or, because Old Orchard needs it
They have more money than
almost
you guys.
more than we do.
Yeah,
Yeah, so.
yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, I can definitely see 2 without a doubt. If it's done, and they've got a ideal place for it with gazebo park.
Yeah.
Okay. Any other questions on the kiosk?
So I'm moving forward with quotes.
Yeah.
I am moving forward with asking for quotes. Like real quotes.
Right,
Yes.
yeah.
I just wanted to.
Right.
Yeah.
Hey, Mark, did you have any comments on how the Tiff Foundation is going and the meetings that you've been attending?
Not necessarily. There hasn't been anything since that time we met. So
Okay.
tonight's obviously we've been
Tomorrow
off
night.
about 6 weeks.
Tomorrow night, Mark.
We're kind of waiting. Sorry, tomorrow night. So, and I believe depending on how long the public comments go, the hope is that there's a vote tomorrow evening and the TIF commission wraps up their duties. But I guess it depends on the turnout from a public standpoint. If it needs to be an extended session that has a second meeting, correct me if I'm wrong, Eric, but I think that's the game plan to
That's correct. So
hopefully
the
wrap up tomorrow.
The agenda is posted for the TIF commission for the hearing tomorrow. Obviously, if there's a lot of people, they can continue that hearing to their next meeting. We've also added the TIF commission resolution is there, so you can all see that if you wish on the agenda. That they are prepared, that we will be ready if they wish to vote, even if they get done with the hearing early and they think, I need more time. Oftentimes the county will say that, we want to look at this. They have a whole different set of calculus they're looking at things than necessarily we are. So we are prepared if they need the November 10th date as a vote on the TIF commission. So, and that's where that sort of November 12th deadline for comments from boards and commissions came from.
Okay.
So.
Hey, thanks, Mark. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Okay, our BDC update, maybe just left, unless Frank can help us, I guess.
We also have some more new business. I have not gotten all the numbers in, but just a heads up, I will be coming back and asking for some money or asking for that money for the Halloween, or what was it? The Oktoberfest. We ended up spending a little bit more money. So, but I have to get all the budgets in first,
Okay.
or all the invoices in.
Okay.
Just finalize that. And then holiday open house 2 might be coming for a little bit more money.
Okay.
Not a lot.
Mhm.
I'm just giving you a heads up.
After the fact, I think is that, I guess we have the money.
You can-
Yeah.
Okay,
It's up to you.
Okay, all right.
You just remember, you said holiday open house 2, TOO or TWO?
TOO.
Okay. Well, there's another event.
No, open house 2,
Okay.
not 2.
So just a personal note from the holiday open house.
Yeah.
Like, my employees are not, like, they're not super comfortable with how, 8 million people coming into our store. And so it's like, if we lose an employee, I'm gonna be not happy because I don't have any employees. But they're just like, two people who work there have people with underlying health conditions at their house. And so I just want to put a point out, just like Fran's point about, how Kirkwood just canceled their trick or treat. And now it's just going to be us, Webster, having it. I think trick or treating is actually more dangerous or whatever, because not all kids are vaccinated. I hope mostly adults are. But that it is still a concern that,
Do you limit what are you?
I can't limit. No, we're gonna we're not gonna have any food inside where people are, we typically
You're
have
doing a
spreads.
Beer
of food.
tasting.
Yeah, but outside, and I hope it's not freezing, because
Why
I'm
don't
the
you
one that has
cancel
to do
that?
it. Huh?
Why don't you cancel that then? Just your beer tasting.
Well, we could, but then there'd be nothing going on.
Well, that's one of the reasons I've moved the kids from your side because of the beer tasting too.
Right.
Because I was like, well, I can't have Santa's mailbox next to the
That's a
beer
good idea.
tasting. I
Right.
mean, that's kind of, but that's why it's important for me to know. But things like that helps me like plan out where things are being stationed.
Right, we're still
So,
gonna, I'll be doing beer tasting outside, it's just, yeah, but it's just gonna be me, because nobody else felt comfortable talking to the public or anything like that, and getting that close proximity all that time.
so I'm
you
just
are-
wondering if you have to do the beer tasting.
Yeah.
I mean, is there something like, can't you put some bows on some bikes and line them up or something, or some Christmas lights on them?
Yeah.
I
you
don't
can-
know.
Yeah, you can, of course. you
I mean,
can.
I do have the balloon guy. He is in front of US Bank. I could move him down in front of by you guys, but then that's bringing all these kids over to you.
Right,
So
right, yeah, I think we're
You
gonna
tell me what you
stay,
feel
yeah,
comfortable
no, I'm
with.
just letting you know that I don't know if any other business feels this way, maybe it's just my business, I have no idea, but we constantly have people coming in without masks who give us attitudes when we ask them to put a mask on, and it's getting not better, it's getting worse, and so, I don't know what the open house or the walk will be.
how was Oktoberfest for you? Was it aggressive?
It was good, actually.
Oh,
Well, our
okay.
beer tasting outside went well. We didn't have a ton of people coming in the shop. The people who wanted to look at bikes came in the shop, but we didn't have everybody in the whole world just coming in to get the free stuff and leave. That's what you have at the open house, which we've always been fine with before COVID. But people come in, they get their beer samples. They don't want anything to do with bicycles. They're just trying to get the free stuff. And then they're out, and so that's what we're trying to eliminate. People who, of course, are customers who would like to have come in our store and are
Yeah.
interested and have a reason for being in there, except for,
I don't think it says anywhere on our marketing material any more free samples or anything like that. Does it?
No.
So
Well, it hasn't for
I
quite some
personally,
time.
yeah, we took
Right.
that off years ago.
Right.
And so
It's not on
I
the
really,
promotional material.
I really feel like
Yeah.
you could probably, I don't give out free stuff. I
Right.
do like a buy 5 ornaments,
We-
get one free thing.
We do encourage everybody to treat it like a real open house though, so people do expect.
Something,
Right,
Yeah.
exactly. I understand, right.
but it doesn't have to necessarily be like free food or free
Right.
drinks. We have great restaurants in Webster that we didn't have 20 years ago.
Right.
So things have changed,
Right.
right?
Mhm.
I would say if the drinking and food thing is what, maybe come up with some other holiday offering.
Right. Mhm.
You know what I mean? I
Yeah.
don't know, like a kid's bicycle promotion from Santa.
Right. Mhm.
Santa brings a bike to them on Christmas morning.
That's not gonna
Well,
happen.
But just to the point, I know what you mean, because our workforce here, we certainly,
it's scary.
there are folks who don't want to wear a mask on the workforce, but workforces around the region, what, really, it's an employee asking themselves, is there really a value proposition to be working for you?
Right.
If I have to get exposed, right?
Right.
And the fact, even here now, it's become, they won't listen to our front desk, put a mask on, so it's, police come from the back of the building.
Wow.
To tell customers here at City Hall, put your mask on. Or you can.
Oh my gosh, it's
So,
crazy.
That's City Hall.
That's a City Hall, and here, free one, have as many as you want, we'll give them to you, so.
Yeah.
So,
So then this does mean that you are going to, because I still had you as
Yeah,
a
he
question mark,
messaged,
Oh.
messaged me that he was. I had that confirmed
Yeah, I
on
haven't checked
Friday.
my-
and you haven't told me.
You were getting surgery. You told me you were getting surgery.
I'm sorry, she was in the store last Thursday and I was off. It was Friday and.
Friday morning.
Right. So I can check for you right now.
Oh, that's nice.
I was in the store twisting arms. Who is happy?
She'll
Who's
pick
doing it?
that right after the meeting, if she's coming to pick up clients from me.
Okay, all right.
I do have to say though, as far as like that work thing, it's like that everywhere.
I know it is. Yeah, I'm aware. Yeah, nobody can find help and everyone's understaffed and
Paisley's still only open 3 days a week.
yeah, we're not. And I can't,
Yeah.
we're stretched as thin as we can be stretched,
Yeah.
so it's,
Yeah.
so. Yeah, we don't want to lose anybody else, so it's one of those things that we'll have to see day of or whatever happens, if somebody's like, I'm just not comfortable, I'll just have to say, go home and I'll handle it, so. Anyways,
Weird world.
so BDC update? Does anyone have it, of course?
Business roundtable.
yes, so can I combine business,
You can
BDC
do-
and
yes,
city updates here?
perfect, yes.
So just a couple things real quick, knock them out. We talked about Douglas Hill, so the council is expected mid-November to take the zoning and the TIF ordinances if they're out. And so we're really on a path to have zoning and TIF potentially done by the end of the year. The development agreement, which is that contract between the city and the developer, that really is what kicks it off and it says yes or no. That could be in January, it could be in December. So I'm just, those three things all sort of swirling about what needs to be approved to say we're doing or not doing Douglas. Okay, so just want to give you that update. Plan Commission is meeting this month, or there's an old Webster Plan Commercial rezoning regarding multifamily at 55 Moody. That's the drive-up bank by Llewellyn. That property by Llewellyn's on Moody.
Is that the one with the,
It's like Bank of America, I think it is.
Yes.
Behind James Carlton, between Llewellyn and James Carlton. There's the drive-up bank.
They're asking
Right.
for a multifamily.
So the property is planning to go, asking for planned commercial with multifamily residential on that
and
space.
that's mooring?
So that's more
Yes, that's
Cole's
more.
property.
Yes.
Oh,
So-
Maury, what are you up to? That's
So,
exciting.
so my point is that, folks, Douglas Hill is not by any means the end of questions. Old Orchard is going to probably, I would guess, have 3 to 4, not Douglas Hill size, but Douglas Hill type of projects that are coming. We will start to see more multifamily, dense, high, in some form, fashion, development questions coming before the city. So
Okay.
just want to give you that sense and heads up.
So I do have a question on then that property with Maury.
Yeah.
that he's trying to do. And so how far, I didn't know this was happening, but how far along is this?
It
For a
is,
little
it
shop.
has been submitted and it is in front of the plan commission. They have not met. So it's
Okay.
at step 1.
Okay,
And it's unlike Douglas Hill, which is multiple properties in TIF. This is that property at 55 Moody to go to planned commercial, which would allow the multi-use. So you could have retail with multifamily above it and all that kind of stuff.
okay, all right. I think it's a perfect location for it.
Yeah.
As always, I'm just looking at parking,
Oh, absolutely.
you know?
Planned commercial is fantastic for that, in that the city can then require them to have parking for
Okay.
if it's the regular, if it's D zoning or whatever. That's really not supposed to be even a question.
We're talking about where the drive-through is.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
So,
Wow.
yeah.
No, planned commercial is definitely the way to.
So, and just not to tie this all to Douglas Hill, but that will bring up the same question, right? If you're gonna add homes there, that's more traffic. What does Marshall deal with, right? You know, the next road over and train issues and, you know, what's Moody become like trying to get off Elm and, you know, get on, go off of Gore and all. So I'm just, all those questions that are circulating about Douglas Hill, I can see popping up about this. To a lesser extent, because it's not the size and scale.
Mickey, I have a question for you because you helped me out a lot with the Regions Bank property when they were gonna make that residential and commercial. That was planned commercial as well, I believe. Is that correct?
I believe so, yeah.
Okay, all right. And just to refresh everybody's memory on that project, Planning Commission still approved that project, but not nearly enough parking, in my personal opinion. They didn't have nearly enough parking for the residents. But Planning Commission still approved it, so we still have to, you know what I'm
You have to be on
saying?
top of it.
Right.
But that one went through real fast.
It didn't go through that fast.
It felt like it did.
I don't think so, but I mean, it eventually they gave
Compared
up
to
on
the
it, which I
Rolling
don't.
Ridge thing and compared to the Douglas Hill,
Oh, I
that
would-
one went through really quickly.
It was multiple months at least, so you had time to, I learned more about parking than I ever wanted to, and Mickey was
Yeah.
awesome about. So, yeah.
So what's the timeline on something like this, a smaller scale project, Mickey? Like from them bringing it to commission to it doing parking, another
Well,
parking study?
first it goes to planning commission.
Yeah,
Then they submit it to city council.
Yes, and the planning commission could take a few months. They could say, we want to have a parking study or, you know, come back with some ideas about how this goes. So
Right.
I would guess that this is not just a 1 to 2 month turnaround in planning commission.
Okay.
I would guess there's probably an extra in there. Just given the fact that we've looked so closely at that whole area recently. But theoretically, I mean, you could, you know, once it hits council, it's a 2-meeting process, 3-meeting process. So.
So yeah, so I think that location where Regions was great, except for their parking plan, which they couldn't do anything with, which I understood, but it still went through planning commission. Planning commission said, oh yeah, it's fine. It would have been a big problem, I think, if it would have went through. I think Maury's property is a great place for something as long as there's parking. The parking is expensive.
Yes.
Which we learned, and that's what happens.
The problem is, he's providing parking now for a lot of businesses that,
Carlton and everybody over there. Right.
and, well, I'm still calling the Bank of America building.
Right.
Falls, but technically, I believe that's still dezoning.
Currently? I believe so, yes.
Which technically means that he doesn't have to provide parking, period. Or just like
Right.
you can't provide parking for.
Right,
anyone.
right, exactly.
So, I mean, it is a serious concern because that lot takes care of, take for sure 2 buildings and I believe more like 4 or 5 buildings.
Right. Mickey, do you have a comment there?
Yeah, so I think a thing that you guys should understand is that for like a planned development, the purpose of those is to allow you to come up with sort of your own plan going forward. So like most districts have a certain number of parking that are required per a certain type of building. What a plan district allows you to do is make your own recommendation for those parkings. And then that's what gets approved. And that's how they got through with the Regions Bank with having less than maybe what you felt was necessary for what they were proposing. So it's definitely something where, you know, the city can compare what they would typically require for similar buildings and give them a reduction. And that's allowed because of the type of zoning that they're going after. So that's how they kind of get through that piece without, meeting what's typically required, if that makes sense.
All right, so back, I'm sorry, Eric. that
No
was-
problem, no problem. No, that's
Yeah,
good.
your second bullet point.
But it's important, and also something I have discovered that's incredibly important to the life of Webster. We are coming next month, the Plan Commission is also dealing with text amendments for the tree and landscape ordinance, which I know will, from what I understand, some folks will get very involved about that process. So, so just want to put that on your radar. Briefly, I think you're all aware of the businesses, total access, urgent care. I think we discussed this last time. The permits are issued and such.
It's going up.
It's going up, yes. I would expect that, I know it's not Subaru, what's the other dealer? Well, what was it? The empty dealership right next to the gas station?
Subaru.
Is that
Yeah,
Subaru?
Subaru.
Okay.
Subaru had all of Webster.
Was there two Subarus? Was there one of the
There
one
was
across
two
the
lots,
street as well?
yeah.
Okay.
And,
Okay.
and urgent care.
Okay, all right.
So-
I was like, am I saying the wrong dealer here? So, okay.
One was their used car lot.
Okay, got it. So the Subaru next to the gas station, I would expect that we will be having a planned commercial multifamily at some point request for that as well. So, we allowed for that. And so a type of dense housing in that area. So, and with Old Orchard starting to look at no different than Crossroads, Murdoch, I think that that intersection, the four-way stop sign, the three-way stop sign on Big Bend.
Big Ben
Murdoch, yes.
Americana from Big.
Yeah, so, so anyways, just giving you up to speed on all the various little projects that are affecting the life and times of Webster Groves. Business Roundtable, thank you. So we have struggled with our new email system for some reason. Did anyone here get the email I sent yesterday about a business roundtable? Because I sent it to Old Webster because you were my guinea pigs, and I didn't get it, so I'm
I did
seeing
not
those,
get it.
Fran, you didn't get it, okay.
I could look in my trash, I don't ever look in spam or trash,
So,
but.
Well, I didn't get it either, and I looked at all of them,
Okay.
so I will figure this out. The invites will go up, we will continue to do this. Next Thursday, we're having our business roundtable, and the point is obviously so I'll get to the point. I'm not worried about invites going out a week ahead of time, because there's so many people that do business with Webster and are in business here, that it's really about getting them a survey link and getting feedback and sort of an ongoing conversation. The point of the roundtable from the BDC is to have conversation about what's working in Webster Groves, what's not only what the city does, but just what do businesses need, workforce issues, access to capital issues, marketing and, promotional, needs and such. And really for the city to listen. So the BDC will run this, Mike Pincus, Tim, CC Bartels, table conversations. It's over at Webster U at the East Academic Building, plenty of parking, giving us the garage to use. And it's really just us to listen, to help inform the ARP, right? What do we need, right? Is it been workforce issues? Is it capital? Is it micro grants, micro loans that are needed to form what we could do with that money, but also our own processes, right? I mean, if it's a pain in the meat for you guys all to come get parking permits for the garages, how do we reform that process? If that's eating up your time and capital, how do we do our business better, increase our, speed up our transaction time with you all, improve our own processes, and help support the general business climate. 8:30 Thursday at the East Academic Building. And I will, it's my mission in life today to get all 40,000 some of these emails out, so.
I'm excited. I have a question.
That's all I got.
Of course. I'm super excited that the city has lots of new hires and new positions filled, which sounds like you guys are getting a lot done very quickly. My question is is there anywhere with all the new hires at the city, is there a way, do you guys have a meeting where you talk about what the game plan, what you want to accomplish in the next few years as new employees coming to the city?
Well, that's a great question for the city, because you're talking about the strategic plan of the city, which the city doesn't have. We have some 2018 visional goals
Uh-huh.
that the council created. The council started a strategic planning process, but who decides where the city's going is the council ultimately, right? The city manager certainly has a lot that we can put on that, emphasis we can put on things, but it's also, we work at the direction of council. If the city manager were to say, let's go totally about sustainability and the council doesn't fund any of it, that doesn't work, right? So the council's in that process right now because, we certainly have meetings with staff and with team about where we're going. But in a lot of ways, it's just keep doing what we've been doing because there's no new direction or goal been given about it.
I do feel like, I know that there's gonna be a round table, but I do feel like as a business owner, there's a lot happening in Webster right now, which is awesome. It
Yeah.
sounds like there's a lot getting approved, a lot of things people are fighting for, a lot of changes. And as a business owner, I feel like not necessarily that I need to be kept in the loop, but I want to know what the plan is. It sounds like we're trying to build up Webster very quickly right now, and maybe I'm just viewing it different. I don't know.
No, I don't think you're viewing it different. I think it's an accurate thing. There's a lot going on. And
Uh-huh.
the strategic planning process will involve community engagement, certainly, right? I mean, the council will want to know what you think about where we should go, but also, what have you talked about doing, right? Council, and folks giving you that information back. I think, one of the things I have noticed is that Webster has engaged in development. I'm not talking about physical development, just what changes, right? In a much slower process, it feels like to me, than other municipalities and governments I have worked at.
Mhm.
And certainly Dr. Peoples and I, we are not on that timeline in a lot of ways, right? I mean, for me, it boggles me why it takes a year to do some basic things. And that's not a shot at staff in any way, it's sort of our culture. We just,
Yeah,
we.
Webster is a slower culture.
Exactly, and we are adjusting to that, but also there are some things like, we can't fix a $2 million general fund deficit by just hanging out for a few years and figuring out if it'll fix itself, right? I mean, there's some real moments that we have to get to a decision, and it's tough, and we understand that, so.
So you guys are working on some type of
Absolutely,
plan to,
yeah, no, the strategic, yeah, so I
Yeah.
mean, strategic planning is underway. The council had a retreat mid-October on Friday, October 15th, so Friday night retreat, and we went through and started that, did our SWOT analysis. I would expect Douglas Hill will get sort of voted on, and then we go back into strategic planning in a full way. Remember, our councils are all volunteers, one who has a job, and before 6 o'clock at night,
yeah,
can't be here, so we are, trying to work with what we have to do that, but it's a process of building a plan and then sort of testing the plan with the community and then enacting the plan.
thanks for answering.
And you have staff meetings
Oh, absolutely.
All the
every
time.
week that
Yeah,
I'm talking about employee turnover and
Sure.
everything about
Yeah.
things. I know you do. right?
Absolutely. Yeah, we talk about that, and we have, there's obviously been a leadership change here, and, different people are here now. Retention rate is still good and high. I mean, we're in the upper 80s this year, and I'm very happy with that, especially, people leave, and we don't like to have our friends leave, right? I get that, but people leave, they move on in life, and that's fine. We're in the great resignation right now too. I mean, we're all dealing with this, right? People are really evaluating whether or not they want to work.
yeah,
Right? And unlike when I was a young man, my nephew was like, well, I asked him the other day what he wants to do for a job. He might want to be an influencer.
Maybe I
Or
just need to
he's,
laugh.
well, right, I know,
Something I
but I
hear
mean,
about every
but
day.
there are generation, but this idea of side hustle and passive incomes and all these things that are not, I'm gonna go to work for Ron, or I'm gonna go to work
Yeah.
for Joe, or I'm gonna go to work for Eric.
Right.
It's a real option now that generations have not had to deal with. And part of our retention, and I mean, we have double the average tenure for local government. Our tenure is almost 12 years. Local government tenure is 6.5. So already local governments in the rest of America are realizing people stay, if we get them for 5 years, we should count ourselves very lucky. But what that means is that we need to rebuild how we do business here, because you can't just bring someone in and know for 20 years they'll understand how the system runs, right? And every 2-3 years, we're constantly in that, retrain, reform,
And
rebuild.
that's where Webster has had so many employees that have been here already 20, 25, 30 years. I mean, some of the new, what we call new employees have still been here for 8 or 9 years. I mean, so I mean,
Something to be proud of. for
No,
sure.
absolutely.
Yes.
People want to work here, so we
Yeah.
appreciate
I
that.
mean,
So,
the public works director, been here for 25 years or 20 years, I believe, close to it, Todd. Street departments, those people have been working here for most, a good part of them their entire lives.
mhm. We also are in comp and class study right now, because we do realize, and we've gotten some of that beginning stuff, you know, our laborers, especially Parks and Rec and Public Works, are woefully behind on the salary scales. And so that's a problem. We get Public Works people that will come, spend 6, 8 months, get the CDL, and they can easily, they can go to county or another city or the private sector and make lots more money right away. And so we have to catch up with that, but we've got some areas that we're really good on, right? I mean, it's, you know, very common, it happens in all places, so. But that study is wrapping up, and we'll start to work on trying to implement that in the midst of all these other things that we must address. So,
Deficits.
deficits, yes, exactly. So,
We need to spend more money, but we're.
exactly, right? We have definite cost drivers that we need to put money into, and where is that gonna come from? So,
Okay. Any other comments for anyone on anything? All right, meeting.
Gary has the best seat in the whole house. I
He
have to
does,
say.
he does. Look at those
I know, right? I was like, I wanna do that for this meeting.
Come on over.
All
We'll
right,
have the
guys.
coffee ready.
Thanks, everybody, for attending, and our next meeting will be on the 23rd, which I believe is the Tuesday before Thanksgiving, so.
Woo.
So I will not be here. I will be on, so Fran, I'll work with whoever to have somebody in the room here. To
Okay.
make sure to turn it on. I'll be, it's deer season in Wisconsin, so I'm going.
Yeah, yeah.
But I'll come out of the tree.
All right.
So-
You'll be up in the blind, you'll be like, wait a minute.
He's really quiet.
John's on a really difficult road back.
Yeah. right?
Oh, wow.
So I'm gonna call him,
What's that?
and then.
Thanks for getting guys in
what
barbecue.
exactly
Oh,
he
absolutely.
in the email.
Absolutely.
Okay.
So
So that
You
you
let me
I,
know.
I'm a huge fan